Hey y'all, welcome to or welcome back to my channel. I have this problem, guys. When I like something, I don't just like it, I become it. It takes over my life. It takes over my personality. And recently, I had the bright idea to read a Jane Austen book because I was like, I can't be a reader and I've never read a Jane Austen book. So of course I made the bright idea to read Pride and Prejudice. And now I own the entire cloth-bound Jane Austen book set. Yeah, that's right. All of them. They're beautiful. Get a good look in, because they're gorgeous. I'm literally so obsessed with them. So I wanted to do a little bit of a book review on Pride and Prejudice. Not necessarily like a book review, but really just how my experience went reading this book. Let's see if I can get her out of the box set. So here she is in all of her beautiful, beautiful glory. The spine, everything. It came with a little bookmark that said, "Are the shades of Pemberley to be thus polluted?" And yes, let me tell you guys, the shades of Pemberley are to be thus polluted. I want to start by saying that I had no idea whether or not I was going to like this. I was like, I'm gonna give it a shot. And I started listening to it on audiobook. And that was probably the best decision I could have made, because the woman, Rosamund Pike, I think it's her name, who reads the audiobooks, oh, she's beautiful, like she's perfect. She's absolutely perfect at it. To give you guys a little bit of context on this, if you don't know what Pride and Prejudice is about, or if you haven't seen the movie, basically this is the OG enemies to lovers trope. Like, I'm talking, we have the rich, nice man, and then his best friend, who is even more rich. He's tall, dark, and handsome. He's morally gray, and he's brooding and moody all the time. And he sees Lizzie, our main character, and he's all like, oh no, she's not handsome enough for me. And she's over there like, oh, I have sworn to loathe him for all eternity. And everyone's like, he's got terrible manners, and he's such a jerk, and I wouldn't want him, and blah, 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 blah. And then you find out that he's actually not at all like what people think about him. He's just a little bit shy, and he just like doesn't like people he doesn't know. And then suddenly he's doing nice things for her, and then she's all like, oh my gosh, but then she's got prejudice about him because she's been told things that don't actually happen, but she's been told these things, so she believes them, and she accuses them of him while he's professing his love for her. And anyway, long story short, they end up together happily ever after. Spoiler alert if you guys didn't know, but it is a romance book, so I feel like that's not too much of a spoiler. Maybe I shouldn't say that. I don't want to spoil anything, obviously, if you haven't read it, but it is a romance book, so the ending is just beautiful. The whole book is written obviously in like old 1800s English, so it definitely is kind of an acquired taste. Like, you have to be in the right mindset to prepare yourself for this journey, because they do sit there and they're like, oh yes, it was quite tolerable and considerably amiable and all that fun stuff. And so you start to pick up, like, you get used to it after a while. And then after I was like listening to it and reading it, because I was doing it simultaneously, like every time I was driving I was listening to it, but then I would come home and I would read it, I would start talking like this, and Ben would just be like, what are you doing? And I also noticed that like I started writing, I was writing the next chapters of my own book that I'm working on, and it was like I was using quite and tolerable, and it was just, it becomes a lifestyle. Like, I wasn't kidding about that. I wish we still talked like we did in the 1800s, because it's so fun and proper and formal. I'm also glad we don't talk like they did in the 1800s, because sometimes it takes 1,000 words to say like one very simple sentence, which is quite comical actually, because I would listen to it and I'd be like, she could have said that in such an easier way. Like, but it's fine. My experience reading this was such a joy. I felt very like pretty and cottagecore-y and feminine. I was gonna say womany, but then I was like, no, there's a word for that, which is feminine. I did feel like I should be going to an 1800s ball and should be like swooning men at an 1800s ball. So it did make me feel like I should be having a picnic by a tree while the sun sets, looking out across a wheat field, waiting for my Mr. Darcy to come and swoon me away. So I thoroughly enjoyed this. I didn't have any expectations really going into it. I'm not a classics person. I am not a classics person at all. But again, I was like, I can't be a reader and I've never read Jane Austen. And I'm usually not like a fully romance person. Like I love the action-packed story with the romance. Like I don't really like it if there's no romance. But I don't usually do just regular romance. I have been trying to branch out to the rom-com section, but that's its own journey. So I was like, oh great, I'm reading an 1800s classic romance book. I was like, I don't know if this is really, if I'm gonna like it at all. No. Now I would like my entire personality to be this book series, and I am now going to read the rest of the cloth-bound box set, and I am taking a Jane Austen class next semester because, like I said, takes over my life. So I highly recommend it if you're wanting to give classics a chance, especially Jane Austen. I think she's such a beautiful writer. The storytelling is just, it's so good. I thoroughly enjoyed this. I'm really happy that I chose to read it. That's my mini book review, I guess. Again, like a lot of people know about Pride and Prejudice, and so I don't want to spoil too much about it, but this was just a gorgeous read. It was just a gorgeous book all around. The characters were wonderful. The story was wonderful. The writing was beautiful. The scenery was gorgeous. The balls, the dancing, the 1800s-ness of it was just, it was such a lovely read. I can't say enough good things about it. I gave it 5 stars, and I guess that makes sense since it is a classic, but, you know, that's my update on Pride and Prejudice. I suppose I will update you all on the rest of my Jane Austen journey, since I now have all of these lovely cloth-bound books to read, and I'm taking a course on it next semester, so there'll be lots of Jane Austen in my life for quite a bit of time, and I'm very excited about it, and very happy. With all that being said, thank you guys so much for clicking on this video and watching it. Stay tuned for the rest of my Jane Austen journey, the rest of my book journey, and whatever else I feel like posting on here. You guys are so incredible. Thank you for all the love and support you guys give me. I truly appreciate y'all more than you could know. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. Please take care of yourselves, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.